Midnight Music.
Coming up this week on Kings of the Rings podcast, we are fully fledged into the road to WrestleMania. Royal Rumble was an absolute gag, and we are going to talk about all of that and the fallout from that fantastic event. Plus, it is a double header this weekend. We have AEW Grand Slam Down Under in Australia and NXT Vengeance Day, both on the same day. Theoretically, in North America. So Royal Rumble, Grand Slam Vengeance Day, Grand Slam Vengeance on episode 399 of Kings of the Rings podcast, exclusively here on WrestleMania Radio, and it starts right now.
Midnight Music.
You know, I still kind of wish Kay was here to go truly chaotic about their protest of not being here for Grand Slam because it's not an Arthur Ashe Stadium, but we can work around it. We can definitely work around that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 399. The next episode we do will be episode 400. We're going to have a bunch of details about that later on in the show. I'm your host, King Ricky Rose. Thank you guys for joining us here live on Twitter, on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. If you like all the stuff that you're seeing, or some of our fantastic merch, I'm wearing my own personal merch right now. Links to all of our merchandise and all the places where you can find us online are in the description below. With me this week, the one, the only, the founder, the proprietor, and 42 days since his last incident. Will Tarashak, how are you?
You know, I gotta think of where I was 42 days ago and see if I actually had an incident to fact check you on this one. But I'm not gonna lie, I can barely remember where I was 4 days ago, let alone 42. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Whitley T, and I found a brand new favorite board game with Ricky. We can talk about it in the post show because it has to do with fascism. It has to do with fascism.
Okay.
I'll give you a little secret. I'll give it a hint. Right. The game is called Secret Hitler. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. $4.99. It took 10 years. $3.90. Fuck me. $3.99. It took 10 years to get here. This week, sometime this week is the original 10-year anniversary of this podcast. But we're going to more celebrate that next week for episode 400.
2 weeks, actually. We're going to take him. We're going to take
him is in my title blind over there.
You're welcome. You can thank Kay for that, actually. That was a personal request with Kay. There's him in mind as well, because you know we support Kay because Kay does exist in our reality, unlike the federal government's reality. Anywho, be that as it may, so it's going to be 2 weeks. So we're not going to do a show next week. So 2 weeks from now.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah, because then it's going to be easy. It's the 400 celebration. We're going to preview Elimination Chamber, and things like that. So it's we're going to keep it simple for this month of February. You know, and then we'll slide back into maybe a more regularly scheduled program. After
next show I'm going to be 30.
Yeah, you are. Welcome to the club.
I turned 30 this Sunday. I don't know if I'm ready.
I hope you drink a lot of liquid because you're gonna need to.
Dude, I'm not doing anything. It's a long weekend. I got Monday off. Jazz and I is going to dinner. I'm not doing jack shit this weekend.
As well, you should.
I'm exhausted from last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, once you after a while, your birthday's just like, just let me chill the fuck out.
Yeah. And, you know, after 21, I was like, yeah, my birthday's just a number. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
Go out to dinner, cash from checks, and buy a video game and call it a day.
Exactly. Speaking of video games, this is a very big sideberg. Number one, I've been watching a lot of videos on 2K25, and number two, MLB The Show looks fantastic.
Makes it one thing that makes me wish I had a PlayStation so I could play MLB The Show.
So real quick, and we're going to get into wrestling in a second. They have MLB The Show. I was watching a video about their gameplay. They have this new thing called GOAT mode. So you have like rookie, starter, veteran, Hall of Fame. Yeah. Now GOAT is the hardest mode.
Son of a bitch.
GOAT mode is the hardest mode, and their Road to the Show mode starts in high school now.
Oh, that's smart.
You can go from high school to college to
I like that. That's clever.
Yeah.
I just want to see the names they make up for high school. The North Braddock Haddock.
In college football, the names of the recruits always were really weird.
Oh, I bet.
It was always.
Yeah, this is AI generated names.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And what else was absolutely fantastic was the Royal Rumble several weeks ago from Indianapolis at where the Indianapolis Colts play, the Lucas Oil Stadium. First and foremost, aesthetically, like the way it looked, the way it was presented as one of their bigger PLEs, in my opinion, absolutely outstanding and fantastic. From the elevated ramp, the elevated walkway, with the camera on the side, I was like, that's awesome. Because I was like, because when I was watching it, I think on Discord with Charles or something, and I was like, why is the ramp like, why are they on an elevated like walking thing? And then I saw the camera rig on like a track. I go, that's freaking awesome. You know, my favorite thing, and I think it's probably your favorite thing too, were the stats on the bottom, the running ticker on that lower. You didn't like the ticker. I like the ticker.
It grew on me. At first, it was very distracting. But I liked that it showed, number in the ring, number eliminated, who's coming up next, and like the times. Yeah, it was. It's not a bad idea, but it didn't need to be up for the entire match. Because it was a little distracting. I found myself kind of watching the ticker more than the actual match itself.
Understandable. I liked it being there the entire time.
That's a me problem.
Yeah.
Like,
I liked it being there the entire time because I also think I was talking with Sir Charles about it. It was like, I don't have to worry what number they're on.
Yeah.
All the information was kind of right there. And it wasn't too distracting. The only time I thought it was distracting was when they did the giant eliminated graphic. Because sometimes people got eliminated really quickly, and it was like it had to keep going.
Yeah, they do because like 4 women got eliminated at once, and they had to like I said, it bounced back and forth during an entrance. Like it's like it got a little hard to catch up.
Yeah,
but they did things a little differently this year, and it was a little refreshing. Indy looked great. They really built up the city a lot.
Oh, the city's amazing.
And Triple H had a lot of good things to say about the city. It's like, we're happy to have a partnership. We'll be back for many more things. Thanked Pat McAfee for being heavily involved in those deals. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's good that WWE can come into, for lack of a better term, a B-rank city. It's not New York, LA,
Chicago,
Miami, Chicago, like a B-rank city, and really elevate it, great for the economy. I love how they Cody Road.
Yes, like 25 renamed streets. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I thought that was really cool. Probably a nightmare for Ubers or like Google Maps for a few days, but all that stuff I think was really cool. They had the shots of like the convention center with the store. Like it's great that WWE can come in to these cities. Like Minneapolis will be another one.
Yeah.
When they go to Minnesota, and it's just going to be exploding WWE everywhere.
They even had
good for business. It's good for the economy. Like they did a really, really good job.
They even had, from what I saw, and I think I might have talked about it in our own Discord, they had a make your own sign booth in the airport.
God damn.
Yeah, you could make your own sign for the shows. They gave you a map of all the places where WWE had official stuff on, like in the airport. It was a map of where everything was supposed to be. And then they gave you we renamed 25 streets.
Yeah.
And these are always like, see if you can find them as like a little mini scavenger hunt, which is great because not only does it get you active and walking around the city, you also then by default will find different things that you might be interested in. Like it's a perfect idea.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, this deli looks fire. Let's go.
Let's go do this right while we're here.
This deli, yeah, yeah. Or like, oh look, a pub. Like, let's just go get some local brews. Like, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah,
and it is supposed to do kind of stuff in the airport because like all the conferences I go to, you get the badge check. You pick up your badge for the conference.
Yeah,
all that shit is now in the airport.
Yeah,
like a lot of that stuff is just right there, convenience.
Yeah.
And yeah, WWE is taking like, that's a good idea. Let's just make it way better.
Yeah, Indianapolis is notorious for doing stuff like that. Like when the NBA All-Star game was in Indianapolis a couple years ago, they built the NBA court in the middle of their like airport. they built
How nice is this airport?
I don't know. They built an NBA-sized court, and they had to like stop people from playing on the court because it was just supposed to be for show. But like you put a hoop in a court there, like I'm gonna take a shot at least once.
Oh yeah, of course. Actually, a quick sideberg. I was flying to Miami a few weeks ago, and I didn't even notice. I walked right by him. Potential second ballot Hall of Famer Eli Manning was on my flight.
Guaranteed second ballot. He didn't make it this year.
Yeah, I know he didn't make it. So I really just want to tell a story so we could joke that Eli Manning is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, right. Kay's gonna rip you for that one.
They know it's true.
Yeah.
He turned it down. He's technically second ballot.
I saw Eli at Comic-Con a couple of years ago. He's a big dude. Like Eli's 6'4".
Problem. He's a former NFL player. Like, yeah, he has
mean
to be
anything,
huge.
but like QBs vary in height usually. But I didn't know he was that big when I first saw him. And things like that. But back to the city of Indianapolis and aesthetically the Rumble. For me, I was thinking about this when I was watching the show. I was like, if they're gonna do this for the Rumble, this needs to kind of be the Rumble thing, the elevated stage. I love the track. The camera that followed them as they walked to the ring. It kind of made it seem like, because we associated a couple weeks ago as this is like homecoming, but then it kind of turns into like Fashion Week, because it's kind of a homecoming and a Fashion Week for WWE, because you never know what someone's going to come out in. You never know who's going to show up. I think the more appropriate term is Royal Rumble is a Fashion Week for WWE.
That's interesting.
You know, but I like the runway look. I love the camera angles of them following. Like, it was just, from a production standpoint, I was like, this is unique. And WWE, since forever at this point, has really lessened how their stages look. They've gone for a very minimalist thing.
Yeah.
But if they can make their big fours or even their fives uniquely different in subtle ways, like if the Royal Rumble has this runway, you have the big ass stage for WrestleMania, which is always going to be a staple. Then your SummerSlam, don't put a runway on SummerSlam. Give it like the flat surface like they did in Cleveland.
Yeah, the ramp. Yeah, the walkway.
Just the walkway, not nothing elevated. Like those things will make every big show at least look different. Because you run into a problem.
I like it for SummerSlam too, because you can sell more tickets and you can look like there's more people. Like, remember Royal Rumble in 2020? They came out of the dugout. Because they were in Arizona?
Yeah, they're in Houston.
Houston. Yeah, and they came out of the dugout. I was like, okay, that looks really cool. Yeah. Like, it looks cool as shit. Like, yeah, that's really, it was different.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, definitely. I hear 100%. And I like the idea of like the walking down the runway.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Because they all get in the ring and they all have their moment. Right? Like Chelsea Green, right? She has her crazy outfit on, comes in, does her little spot, then hides in the corner. Jordan Grace comes in, has her muscle movement, picks up what's her name?
Piper Niven.
Piper Niven, and then slams her down. And then she kind of just fades away until she gets eliminated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is kind of like a do the runway, have your moment, and then just go into the rest of the match.
Yeah, and let's start with the Women's Rumble. Number one, Chelsea Green, absolutely hysterical.
So great. She's so good. She's so good at what she does.
Yeah, it's great. She was on someone's show, and she's like, I have no problem making an ass out of myself. I love to do it. I'm like, you're perfect for your role.
Exactly. That's why she gets pushed.
That's why she gets pushed. Yeah. Like her moment when she was in between like Lash Legend and Bianca and Naomi. She's like, oh my God, hey guys.
She's like, I was TNA too, right?
She gets her ass beat. The Women's Rumble, very unique. A massive surprise. And this is actually what made you win the prediction battle, was Alexa Bliss coming back.
Oh, yeah.
That one got you over. You won by one. You're at 8.
I won by 1. Yeah, because I was wrong with Pat McAfee. I was wondering.
We were all wrong, a lot of them.
I was watching, trying to remember. I was like, who did I pick again? It's like, oh, Alexa Bliss. I was like, yep, that's me.
Yeah, that's the one that got you over. We were all tied, and then you got Bliss.
Dude, we're all 0 for 2 with fucking CM Punk winning again.
Oh, yeah. But
we'll get there. But yeah, Alexa Bliss coming back. She looked great.
The Fiend Forever, the new Lily doll.
Yeah, she had added Friend, so it's Friend Forever.
Mm-hmm. They gave her old theme back. Thank God. Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah, she probably got pop of the night. She got a huge pop. Jordan Grace got a big pop. Joe Hendry also got a massive pop.
Oh man, my stream was a little bit more forward than Charles, as he was watching from his house and stuff too. So Joe Hendry comes out. I'm like, Charles, I'm not going to say anything. Charles loves Joe Hendry.
He's the best.
And yeah, he came out. The one thing I didn't like about when Joe Hendry came out, because the rant was so long, he wasn't able to do his classic have a crowd do a wave with him. Because I was like, oh, you just don't have time. You just don't have time to do it. But the Women's Rumble, Bliss coming out. Charlotte being the diva she is with her freaking pyro, I was like, Jesus, she would.
Yeah, I was gonna say thing. I was like, Jess, what are you doing? You got pyro with a Rumble entrance? Like, all right, fine, I guess.
Roxanne with a crazy showing. She's now the all-time Iron Woman.
Yeah, after beating EO, who beat Liv Morgan,
who beat Mercedes.
Bayley.
Who beat Mercedes?
No, Bayley. Bayley beat Mercedes last year.
Oh, okay, yeah. You had that moment. You had.
I mean, Roxanne Perez runner-up was crazy.
They have a lot of faith in this woman.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's like where it's like Roman Reigns being runner-up in 2014 to Batista, except no one really. Well, people did boo this time, but
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah. You had Nia getting a good moment of eliminating like 4 people. I think as well, because usually everybody thinks, well, now she doesn't get anything to do, but like they gave her a moment. They eliminated a bunch of people. Overall, the women's rumble was great. Charlotte predictably winning. And then like 2 days later, it found out her and Andrade divorced, which I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting, but all right.
That's sad.
Yeah.
She can't catch a break.
Yeah, this is like her 3rd husband.
Yeah, third divorce too.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
No,
the main
it's not.
difference between this Rumble and the men's Rumble, I was like, the women's Rumble was better for surprises,
Yes,
and entrances and showcasing your future, specifically your future talent.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the men's Rumble did a better job in storytelling and setting things up for the near future.
Yeah, the men's
like they were very different. I thought the men's Rumble was way better.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that reason. But the Women's Rumble was definitely entertaining, fun, and a great way to kick off the show. And I like how the Royal Rumbles are now all a little over an hour. They give people time.
Yeah, the Women's Rumble ran
fill
long,
the ring.
But
it did. Good. It did feel a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. The Women's Rumble, I think, went an hour 24, almost like that. It was long.
I think it's an hour 7, hour 8.
I don't know.
No, because Roxanne was number 3.
Roxanne almost went an hour.
Yeah, no, she did go over an hour.
Yeah.
Her, EO, and Liv all went over an hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was say the stats are on WWE's website, I believe.
Yeah.
For that, I mean, and then the men's Rumble happened, and Joe Hendry, the return of AJ Styles with his old theme too. I was like, yes.
Yep, you called that. You called that too.
He got pyro, and then the men's Rumble was doing fine. It was fine. It was good pace. And then when it got to the 20s, they just started throwing haymakers. It went like, what was it? Roman, Cena, Punk, Seth in a row.
Yeah, I think Roman was 18. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing at 18?
Yeah, and then
so low.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro, you used to be the main event. What happened to you?
And then but then after a while, they're throwing haymakers now. Like, this is absurd.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely absurd. And then I was like, who's going to be number 3? And I go, oh, crap, it's fucking Logan Paul.
I forgot about Logan Paul. I was like, hey, yo. I was like, oh, yeah, god damn it. Right.
I was like, this guy. I mean, and then you had LA Knight in the middle of it. And when you had all of those future Hall of Famers in the ring, and then there was LA Knight, I was like, wow.
Whoops.
I was like, ooh, he's staying there for a while.
And you're like, ooh, that's why you don't get pushed, because you don't fit the part. I'm sorry. Like, he looked out of place.
He did. He absolutely did. He did look really out of place when they were all in the ring. I was like, wow, this is a big power scale for LA Knight. I was like,
yeah, it's like, wow, this would have been really cool last year.
And there is rumors that Drew and LA Knight legitimately got into a beef during the Rumble.
Yeah, because it's like Drew got eliminated early.
Something like that.
Paul eliminated him.
Logan Paul eliminated a lot of people. That pisses all off. Like when Punk got eliminated, I was like, "You son of a bitch, Logan Paul."
Dude, I was legitimately shocked. I was just like, I think Jay's gonna win.
That's when I started getting nervous. When it was Jay and John, I was like, "Oh crap!" I was like, "This can go really bad or really great." I was like, "Are they gonna Cena for his last Rumble, or are they actually gonna do something with Jay?" And they towed that line perfectly.
They did, because it's just. But then I thought again, it's like, oh yeah, Cena's already scheduled for Chamber. like heavily promoted.
Yeah. Wow, good one, Taquan. Taquan says LA Knight was a polar bear in Arlington, Texas. That's how out of place he was.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, it pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
I think Cena's gonna put everyone over on this farewell tour,
which I would enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, because like he spent his whole career burying people. He might as well put them all over now.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good moment. Like, you know, he did the job because I was scared he wasn't going to do the job, and then he immediately got in the ring and like hugged Jay and was very happy for him.
I was like, "What are you doing, John? I get it, but it's like it's his moment. Let him have it. Leave." Anyway,
he left. He left, and he had his moment and things like that. And he like the power of a monumental win. Jey Uso has opened up like the last 3 shows for WWE, and they're all like 10 minutes long because the crowds can't get enough of him.
Yeah.
He got like an 8-minute standing ovation the Raw after the Rumble.
I did see that, and he was like in tears. I was like, "Damn, this is
I was
big. Doing it. I was in bed watching it, doing this." Jazz like, "The fuck are you doing?" I'm like,
"Work it out."
This. It's like when Roman comes in, I hold up the wand. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Acknowledge him." And then she sees me doing this. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's the new Roman. What do you want me to do?"
It's actually interesting. Like, I feel like Jey Uso like finds like somehow he always finds like the scrawniest kid. Like when he's walking to the ring through the crowd.
Dude, they have to be at this point. They have to be plants.
They were plants or like some really smart parents who's like, all right, he's gonna come down here. Because like if you think about it, WWE's production is pretty similar across all brands. You can, if you know the arena setup, you can figure out where they're gonna walk down from.
Which tunnel he's gonna walk down in.
Yeah. You can put it together.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some like, there's some parents who's like, all right, I want my kid to have a crazy experience. Jey Uso's gonna come out here, we're gonna get these seats. But listen, it's awesome. Like, there's some things that people were upset that it was Jay. And like, to be honest with you, I was kind of weird. I was like, Jay? And then I was like, you know what? It's supposed to be Jay. You know why? Because it's just like The Undertaker had a thing with like, I think Randy Orton or something a couple years ago, or some upper lower town. The talent said it's someone big now. And Vince was mad at him because Undertaker sold a lot, and Undertaker went to Vince and was like, "This is what our business is about. Like, we're supposed to make future stars." And that's what the Rumble did. The Rumble just elevated Jey Uso to a freaking stratosphere.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, especially in a Rumble filled with Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers.
It's a shot victory, and it works.
Jay wins? Like, no one picked Jay.
I didn't pick. I was like, "There's no way."
No, I was looking at who's being at Final Four, and I was like, "God, Jay's 5."
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's Triple H is listening. He hears the crowd.
Yeah.
He sees the merch. He sees segments running potentially long. He's seen the progression over the past 4 years. He's fucking earned it.
Yeah.
And he saw the match here with Gunther at Saturday Night's Main Event. So, yeah. Run it back. I love it because how many for years we've been saying the Rumble's a chance to put over someone new.
Yes.
And Jey Uso was in his 40s, but that is literally your prime in wrestling. Your early 40s. Yeah. It really is your early 40s. It doesn't have that like when Sheamus won, it was like that because it was new blood, it pushed him to the moon, but Sheamus didn't have that connection. Sheamus felt manufactured.
Yeah. Jey Uso is much more organic. And,
very, very organic.
And Gunther's going to be one of those guys is that he's going to kind of almost be like a Shawn Michaels at Mania. His best work is always going to be in a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gunther's going to do his job very well and then probably take a long vacation.
Which is going to be, again, well-deserved.
Yeah, dude, the guy spent 80% of his time in WWE as a champion. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. So it is going to be fantastic. So Jay already declared. He's declaring Gunther. The WrestleMania graphic format is awesome. It's a bunch of cards and like poker chips. Like raining down.
I still have to watch Raw from last night.
It's fine. Take your time. Gunther almost kills a child. It's really funny. So there's that. So the other thing now is who is Charlotte going to pick? It's looking more and more like Tiffany Stratton. Although I would make a great argument for Charlotte Rhea 3.
I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
Because the first one, they had a very good promo last week on Raw.
Yeah.
So Charlotte came out getting booed, and she's like, "I'm just gonna flip. I was gonna cut this babyface promo, but fuck it.
She's one of the only people in like the history of pro wrestling recently that comes back from a long injury and they still fucking hate her.
They still hate her. Yeah, I mean, because it's just you got everything handed to you, and yeah, she has that narrative about her, and I get it.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, sometimes I'm that person too. It's like, oh, fucking Charlotte. But she said it in the press conference. She's just like, yeah, you think I've been indestructible for like the past 2 years? I've been fucking banged the fuck up. Like I've been beat up for the first time ever.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind her versus Rhea because that first one
was really good, even though
it was really good, even though it was COVID. It's like, okay. The second one fucking stole the show. It was incredible. And they're tied 1-1.
And you know what? And neither of those times, except for maybe the first one had a better story, but the second one, the writing team gave zero shits about it. And they put on a classic. Like, could you imagine if they had actual, like, people behind us?
It's a legitimate main event.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know, but I think they're gonna go, especially with the time that she spent on SmackDown compared to where she was, because she did go to NXT last week. She did go to NXT. She was on Raw. But I think with the promo and the segment that she did on SmackDown with Tiffany, I think they're gonna do that, which I'm okay with. But I kind of like the Rhea Charlotte kind of, definitive who is the best of the best, and there's been enough time in between when they faced off, but they can do it again.
I mean, Triple H just needs to ask himself, really, are you okay with 2 main events being men?
Mm-hmm.
Cody main events 1, Jay main events night 1, Cody main events night 2.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? And he might just go, Triple H might be like, yeah, it's what makes the most sense for storyline, because Charlotte and Tiffy is a great show stealer, middle of the card, night 2, no doubt.
Or a good opener, potentially.
Or a good opener, but it's not a main event. And then who is the other champion? Rhea?
Rhea. That could be a legitimate main event. Rhea can main event a WrestleMania.
She could, but against the right person. She can't do it
I think
who?
Charlotte's the right person.
Charlotte is the right person.
Yeah.
But if not Charlotte, who? And if Charlotte doesn't go after Tiffy, who does she go after? Like, that's what I mean. The women's division isn't strong enough to hold this much main event talent.
From a storyline perspective, I think it's bad.
Like you have main eventers spread out, but
you have to build it.
There's not enough people for them to actually work with to be a believable main event.
Yeah. The only thing I think is legitimate main event status for like a night 1 or a night 1 more so, because night 2 is going to be Cody. That's almost a definitive. Yeah. Is I think Charlotte and Rhea, Rhea's been built up to the stratosphere.
Absolutely.
And Charlotte's been built up to the stratosphere too. And I think from a promos perspective, from a presence perspective, I think they can build a fantastic story that could be main event worthy. I don't think they're gonna do it though, because I think they're enamored with Tiffany being like the next Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't think Tiffany can build up enough heat in time. She's been champion long enough.
I think they're gonna face her and they're gonna make Charlotte heel, which I think is gonna be better. I also don't believe. I don't believe Tiffany Stratton at this moment in time in her career is a good face. So I think it's going to heavily rely on Charlotte being the most hated person in the room, which shouldn't be hard for her.
Yeah, I agree. Like Tiffany Stratton is great in ring. Most of that has pretty much clicked.
Yeah.
But her character work, her promos still need a little bit of work.
She is a natural heel, and she has to learn to be a face. Like
exactly.
Her heel work in NXT was great because she was annoying. She was like an annoying Barbie.
It's also a smaller stage, though.
Very true. So yeah, I don't know, but I like it. Let's move on because we do have to do some other stuff. Move on to everything's happening in the Rumble. The actual only legitimate classical match was a 2 out of 3 falls between Motor City and DIY.
That was great.
It was great.
That fake tag, I was like, I've never seen that before.
Oh yeah, the fake out. It was a very FTR move.
I thought that was great. I thought that was so genius.
Yeah, it reminded me of what FTR, aka the Revival, used to do with their like hijinks in the ring.
God, it was great. It was really well done. And then the Street Profits just being very angry.
They cut their first heel promo on SmackDown.
Oh God, I bet it's great.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I was so pumped. I was like, dude, Montez Ford looks jacked and very frustrated.
Yeah.
And Angelo Dawson is still there.
he did most of the talking in the heel promo, which is good for him. But yeah, it was a good match. I think this is Charles's first like Motor City really like deep dive into Motor City Machine Guns, and he's like, I understand why they're your favorite tag team's favorite tag team.
Yeah, they get it. They've been around forever.
It's seamless. It's a shame that they had that the match ended the way it did, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, they
were so clean. They're so clean. They're so smooth. They're so good, and they're so small. It's crazy.
And it's like they just don't stop. I have a feeling like they've been wrestling for so long. They just know what the other one's gonna do.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and then we have a damn near a death match, but a very light death match in wrestling terms between Cody and KO, the ladder match. Goodness gracious, yeah.
Ow. I was just saying ow. Ow. Over and over and over again. Just fucking ow.
I will say they did get me when Kevin did the corkscrew suplex.
Yep.
On the ladder, and Cody just legitimately did not move. Like he didn't move. Like the ref came and tried to shake him, and I was like, he's not moving.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think he's okay.
I was really freaked out. And then Sammy came out. I was like, oh, thank God, storyline.
And then did nothing, which happened to be the story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And Kevin's just like, you saved Roman, but you just watched me get murdered. Fuck you. That's gonna be. I mean, it's like remember they did this match a few years ago, and it's kind of just like forgotten about.
Well,
this one
yeah,
is gonna be remembered.
Yeah, but also remember, I think the last time Sammy came out to an Extreme Kevin Owens match, it was when they did the Hell in a Cell, and Kevin and someone was gonna. It was like I think it was like Shane versus KO, and someone was gonna jump from the top of the cell onto KO on the announce table, and Sammy came and pulled him out of the way. This was like 2017.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that started Sammy's heel run.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a parallel to that. And this, yeah, because Sammy was wearing very similar all black and saved KO, and this time he didn't save KO, which I thought was very, very interesting. With that, and also very interesting that KO stood in that position after the Alabama Slammer for like 20 minutes. Like, is anybody going to put him right side up?
Oh yeah, it was just face down, ass up in the ladder.
Yeah, I was like, why is he still like that? I was like, that can't be comfortable for anybody.
That's the point. You gotta sell it. You gotta sell the injury. He was just really struggling. He struggled getting up that ladder too.
He was beat up.
he struggled getting those two belts down. Like, you know what he should have done? He should have taken a Wayne Eagle belt and just thrown it in the garbage, thrown it down the ground.
You know what he should have done?
Belt.
Because I think what he wanted to do was unhook the entire thing, because people have done that before. Cena did that when he unified the belts, and then he was like, I'm gonna take both of them. I was like, dude, just unhook the whole thing. It counts the same. But he did that. That's gonna work.
Maybe he was afraid of falling.
I'd be afraid of falling after taking bumps that they did.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be very afraid to do that. But overall, the Royal Rumble is absolutely fantastic. It's a solid 9. I haven't watched it back yet, but a solid 9. The pops,
I agree, very solid 9.
Surprises, the entertainment. Over 4 hours for 4 matches.
Before we move on, do you want the triple threat between Roman, Seth, and Punk?
No,
I don't either. I can't tell you how much I don't want to see that for no reason.
You know, because there is a thing where like Paul Heyman owes Punk a favor, but I do not believe the favor.
Give me a triple threat match that means nothing.
Yes, to get into that.
Yeah.
You know,
because that's not a main event.
No, it's a weird place for Roman to be. Yeah.
Like Seth versus Roman?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I want to see the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
They haven't really had a one-on-one blood feud. They kind of had it a few years ago when Roman and Seth fought at the Rumble, but that was kind of...
And Seth came out as the Shield.
Yeah, was that champion versus champion? That wasn't very...
No, it was for the title, and that's the only match, one of the only matches in Roman's championship reign that he technically lost.
Yeah,
because he DQ'd himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's a story between those two, and there's history. Michael Cole said Indianapolis is where the Shield debuted.
It is.
It's where they broke up, and it's where they reunited. I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, that is true. Indianapolis is the birthplace of the Shield. You know, the other speculation that might be Logan Paul versus Punk. They're kind of moving towards that direction, which I'm
I
all
would
right
like
with.
that.
Two assholes fighting each other for the
Yeah,
season.
two asshole loudmouths being asshole loudmouths.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? It sounds great.
It's just a matter of when does Punk call in this favor, and I hope it's not this WrestleMania thing, just to get back at Seth.
Yeah, that'd be really dumb.
So there's that. And also, before we move on from WWE and move on to AEW and stuff like that, we do have to talk about very early in my sense, especially because it's the beginning of Mania season, the WWE releases that happened. There was about 12 or so talents that were let go. Alexa Lopez, you had Duke Hudson was let go a couple of weeks ago. Cedric Alexander was let go. The Good Brothers and Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows.
Again.
They'll be back at some point.
They'll be back.
They're taking a break right now. There's a couple of other talents that were also released that are skipping my mind right now. The big one for me was they released Sonya Deville, and I was like, that's a little awkward. Especially because Sonya Deville's faction, now her former faction, Pure Future Collectives, which was Sonya, Zoe, and Shayna, had a big moment in the Rumble. They kind of had the show of dominance as a faction moment in the Rumble.
Yeah, they did. And they all got eliminated together.
They all got eliminated together, which is okay, fine. That happens in the Rumble from time to time.
That happened 2 years ago. Sonya got released right after the Rumble too.
Yeah, it was just weird to me because, number one, they clearly showed, that you have some they're that team is talented. Shayna, Sonya, and Zoe, team is talented. Sonya could have been a bigger mouthpiece, but it seems like creative didn't really get behind them. And if anybody to get behind, I think it was Sonya because it's shown, especially with her feud with Mandy Rose when Mandy was a thing, when Sonya turned on Mandy or vice versa or whatever, and she became like female Kyle Ren or Kylo Ren for a while. I was like, Sonya's got something. Like she can carry a program. I thought she would be an excellent mid-carder, in the whole operation. Indy Hartwell was also released as well. Indy's been released, sorry, it was someone else. But I thought that Sonya, they could have done more with Sonya in particular. And in particular, of all the people that were released, that was the most shocking people. What was the most shocking release for you?
Honestly, none of them really. I was like, yeah, this all makes sense. None of them were. A lot of them weren't really on TV. A lot of them weren't really doing that much. Yeah, they weren't being used. Like WWE just reported earnings. It's right before WrestleMania where everyone has to get a bonus. So it's like, yeah, you cut them to save some money.
There's also the talk where they also cut them because they're going to bring a bunch of people up from NXT, which is also kind of it's going to happen eventually, anyways.
Yeah, every company has layoffs. When you're trying to lower that balance sheet, and the most expensive thing you have as a company is payroll and then the benefits package.
Yeah, and they're still gonna do the 90-day the 90-day
no
compete clause, but that's fine because right now in the grand scheme of professional wrestling, it's probably the best time to get released from somewhere because then you can just hop somewhere else.
Yeah, theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah, and there are people that were released that are going to get looks other places.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that big of a thing. Paul Ellering and AOP were let go, but they weren't being used. Sonya being let go.
Yeah, none of these were surprising.
At all. Dawn was a little surprising.
That was a little surprising because they were being used. They were at one point.
For a while. Blair Davenport, which I thought was the biggest atrocity of the whole thing. Because Sonya's more surprising, but Blair Davenport, you're talking about somebody who got in the last reiteration of a draft, was drafted from NXT, and then they did nothing with her.
Yeah, they just didn't do anything with her.
If you're going to draft somebody, and this has always been a gripe that a lot of people have, you're going to bring them up from NXT, you got to have something for them to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything for them to do, is that on the performer or is that on you as a creative, booker? That's the thing. You kind of deliberately stunted their growth. Obviously, there's probably some things we didn't know about, but also, if they're not doing anything, and WWE actually is not the only show in town like it was for decades, you're better off letting them go and seeing they can go somewhere else and do something.
See what they can do.
You take the good with the bad. You see if you can make an opportunity of it and everything.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction. This time next year, Carmelo Hayes is gonna get released.
I do not think that's going to occur.
I do. He's not doing much.
But he's always on TV.
He is, but he's jobbing a lot. He's very still. He's fallen down the card.
I wouldn't say he's. I would say his best of 7 with Andrade was great, and that should have elevated both of them, and somehow it hasn't.
Yeah, somehow it didn't either.
Which is kind of weird to me.
Andrade's going to be released pretty soon as well, now that you mention it.
Well, especially because now that the big thing is out with AEW is that Ricky Starks, Miro, and Aleister/Malachi Black are no longer with the company.
Yeah, they're no longer with AEW, so you got to make room to bring them in, too.
Yeah, and it's very, very possible of all of them to come back. I think Ricky Starks is going to... He was wanted by WWE and William Regal was running NXT for a very long time.
Yeah. Although I will say it is pretty interesting. You've debuted these 2 brand new women's mid-card titles and then
release a bunch of women. Yeah. I was
So,
like, wasn't this supposed to like do the opposite?
Well, it's exactly what I told you guys when we released them. It's just like, yeah, there's not enough TV time.
Yes.
And there's not enough women.
But you're always going to not have enough women if you keep on releasing women.
Yeah, well.
You know what I mean? But they can all the argument also is we have a insanely strong women's division in NXT. We can just pull from there.
I do. But again, I still don't. This is not enough TV time.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of people for they're getting to the point where it's like it's a lot of belts for and not enough time.
People.
Not enough time. Yeah. It gets to the point where there are going to be some, in my opinion, there should be some belts and championships that should be TV only storylines.
Yeah, like why is the women's IC title in the women's chamber?
Yeah, that's a weird one to me. They do more with Chelsea. Well, Chelsea, I think, also does more with less because she's Chelsea Green.
No, is she also in the chamber?
No, she's not.
Okay, I was going to say, because, what's her name?
Her and Michin are going at it. Lyra Valkyria.
Lyra Valkyria is in the chamber. It's just like, but she's the IC champion.
Yeah, like this is the workers supposed to be the women's workers title, you know.
Yeah, like what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Who has the tag belts? What are we doing here?
Bianca and Naomi have the tag belts.
I know, but it's just like, but still, one of them are going to be in the chamber too. It's like, what are we actually doing here?
Yeah, in my opinion,
just having belts for the sake of for nothing.
The women's tag belts need to go.
Yeah,
I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think all those other extra belts need to go. There should be one women's title belt, and they all go for it, and you can have blood feuds.
Are you basing this just on roster size in comparison to the med?
Yes, and it's just like the amount of main event talent you have. There is enough talent there. Like we could do like Tiffy, Rhea, Bianca. Bailey, like there's enough Becky when she comes back, EO. There's enough there to actually create a division where they're all chasing after one title.
Mm-hmm.
That it's actually good and it's actually riveting, and you can have some other storylines sprinkled up through there, like we did with Becky and who was it last year?
Becky and Rhea.
And not Becky and Trish.
Okay.
Stratus.
Yeah.
Remember, like that was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's just like, well, let's just have belts for the sake of having belts, so the internet will shut up for a few weeks.
It's also very possible. That Nikki Bella returns,
which I'd be cool with.
You know, we also didn't mention her, but she had a good moment. I was very happy for her. I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan at all.
I was very happy for Rant.
Yeah, that too. I can see him like freaking hip swaying in his own house.
I wonder if he was more excited for the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and Nikki Bella coming back at Royal Rumble.
I'm going to say Nikki Bella coming back at the Royal Rumble. I'm leaning towards that.
I'm going to say the Eagles. The guy loves the Eagles.
So there's that. I wonder, before we move over to AEW, and we're going to get off this for a second, but I wonder, in particular, if the writing team does both shows. You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Because if you have ideally for me, if I had all the funds in the world and was doing, had WWE style of a promotion, I would have separate writing teams for separate shows.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So that you don't have that potential of a writer in and of itself being overloaded with trying to help book 2 shows or multiple storylines, where they can just focus on one show and maybe one particular storyline and kind of work from there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if WWE does, and that could potentially be an overarching problem with creative as a whole, if they are kind of trying to do both shows.
I think creative for the most part's been good, though.
I do too. It's just me being speculative.
Yeah, but it's like but you need to have something at the bottom of the card that's just kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of shitty.
It's kind of there, yeah.
It's because not everything can be a main event, not everything can be good, and it's always has been and always will be a male dominated business.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's the way it's been for a very, very long time. The Winds of Change did happen, but then also so did Tessa Blanchard, and that kind of stopped.
Oh wow.
That's what happened. That's what
You're
happened.
not wrong. You're not wrong.
You know, we were going somewhere and been like, ooh, right down. So there's that. There's also, speaking of releasing a bunch of women, Britt Baker could come over at any time.
That'd be cool.
That's strong rumblings of that potentially too.
That'd be really cool.
You know, the strong rumblings of that too. So there could be a bigger reason besides NXT call ups that a lot of people, especially a lot of the women, were released at the time that they were released. So stuff to look at down the road, especially in the road to WrestleMania and post Mania Raw and things like that. But moving on to AEW is putting on their Grand Slam show. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. This is a show. This is not a pay-per-view. This is not Dynamite Grand Slam. This isn't Collision Grand Slam, even though it's happening technically on Saturday. This is a show, kind of like a Saturday night's main event. That is what it's boiling down to. AEW in the last weeks has explicitly said it is just Grand Slam. It's not Grand Slam pay-per-view. It's not Dynamite Grand Slam. It's not Collision. It's just Grand Slam. What that means, no one knows, because the big pay-per-view that they're actually moving and booking towards is Revolution in the beginning of March. And Grand Slam just so happens to be here.
This seems very disorganized.
Yes. Yes, it is. Also, if you remember, Grand Slam was supposed to be at, I think, a giant rugby stadium called the Suncorp Arena. Due to not so great ticket sales, they downsized the event to what's known as the Brisbane Entertainment Center. So it's looking rocky right now. You know what's going to be even more rocky than this? It is going to be on Saturday, February 15, 2025 here in the States. It's going up against NXT Vengeance Day, but not really, because you know when this show is going to air. By the way, it's also going to be able to be streamed on Max as well.
Probably like 6 a.m.
Incorrect. You will be able to watch AEW Grand Slam from Australia after NBA Saturday Night All-Star Weekend.
Good luck with that.
Okay, they are hoping for a 10:30 start time for this to start being aired.
What?
Yes, because NBA All-Star Saturday nights.
What time is that local time in Australia?
It's the next day. It's in the morning of the next day. So I'm assuming it is probably going to be pre-recorded.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
God, none of this makes any sense.
I know, especially because if I had to choose, and I hate to say it as a pretty hardcore wrestling fan, if I had to choose between watching the dunk contest and watching AEW Grand Slam, I'm probably choosing the dunk contest.
Yeah, I haven't watched a dunk contest since Kevin Durant and
Durant's never been in a dunk contest.
Didn't he have a Durant and Howard years ago?
Dwight Howard went up against Nate Robinson.
That's right.
Yeah, Kevin Durant has never done the dunk contest.
When what's his name did the Superman? Dwight Howard did the Superman and did the sticker of himself.
Yes.
I like the top that's probably the last one I watched. Maybe that or a year after that or 2 years after that.
You should see what 2016 dunk contest is the craziest dunk contest ever. That was from Toronto, actually.
God, it's NBA All-Star Weekend is always my birthday weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as the schedule goes, NXT Vengeance Day is starting at 6 on Saturday, which is going to be a couple of hours before NBA All-Star Weekend really kicks off. By the way, Bailey's a part of All-Star Weekend. She's in the celebrity basketball game.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's on
that cake bounce on the court.
She's on Raw, like bouncing a basketball all over backstage.
I wonder if she's good at basketball.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. So you have Vengeance Day starting at 6. NBA All-Star Weekend from like 8 to almost 11, or 7 probably, to be honest with you. 7 to probably 10:30, 11. And then, if you're up for it, I won't be probably, you have AEW Grand Slam. So there's a lot that has not gone right for this event. From the downsizing to the timing to the time placement of when you'll be able to watch this. Okay. What has gone right, and something that I think they did a little bit better than WWE, it's because they have more of the roster for it. In every match that has been announced for AEW Grand Slam, excuse me, there is somebody from the country of Australia in a match.
There's nobody?
No, so there's at least one person from the country of Australia in a match.
Oh, that's
on the
good.
card. So
That's
it's good.
good.
It's good. I just hope the people of Australia come out and see it. You know? Because like when the ticket sales started getting bad, I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason they kind of downgraded us from not a pay-per-view to just Grand Slam. Like, to me, it's weird that they didn't give us a designation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of it is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's the thing for me. I'm like, this is awkward. But that's me. The card is what it is. We're gonna go through the card. Will's gonna do his predictions right now, and I know Will has no idea what's going on. So I'm going to try to
not a clue.
I'm going to try to explain to you as best as possible because I have been watching. First off is the Brisbane Brawl. Totally gimmicky. It's just a street fight between the Death Riders, between Jon Moxley, who is the AEW champion, even though he hasn't shown the belt because he's hidden in a suitcase for months, by the way. And Claude, don't ask. Don't ask.
Okay. All right.
Don't ask. This is Jon Moxley and the Death Riders doing their hostile takeover of AEW, which not even the AEW fans care about.
Another one?
Yeah. This is the same thing I told you about before. We're still trying to run this.
I know. It's like, okay, so who actually owns AEW? Who are they trying to take it over from? Who are they trying to take it over from?
I don't know. I don't know what John's doing. So Moxley and Claudio versus Edge and Jay White. Jay White being the native of Australia. In a Brisbane Brawl, this is going to be a giant chaotic street fight. Because. This is.
It's not for the belt or anything. It's just
It's
because.
a Brisbane Brawl, yeah.
Oh God,
Yeah.
fuck me. God, Cope.
It's Adam Copeland or Cope. Yep.
Cope.
It's
I know
Cope.
I know Cope. I want to strangle myself instead of say Cope.
You can say Edge. I will understand what you're saying.
I know. I'm gonna go Jon Moxley. Is this the main event?
I think so. Should you go with the Death Riders?
Yeah, go to the Death Riders.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to go Cope and Jay White. I'm doing heavy on they need to do something good for the country of Australia. So having Cope and Jay White win something, especially because the Death Riders have been kind of running roughshod with everybody, and the fact that it is a Brisbane Brawl, essentially a street fight, no rules, there could be a lot of shenanigans, a lot of dustiness going on in this match, which I think will benefit Cope and Jay White. So there's that. The next match on the card, probably the most intriguing match, we have a rematch of the AEW Women's Championship. Timeless Toni Storm, the return of Timeless Toni Storm, by the way, who's been doing excellent work ever since she came back from her amnesia thing, versus Mariah May. Now, Mariah May beat Toni Mariah May beat Toni at All In London, where Mariah is from. She's from the UK. Now we're in Australia, where Toni Storm is from, putting the title on the line again. My prediction for this, especially because she is so hot right now, and I know I'm not supposed to be booking smart because it's AEW. However, I think Toni gets her lick back and beats Mariah May in Australia.
I agree. Yeah, you beat me in my hometown. I beat you in my hometown.
Yep.
And I like that she's timeless again. The black and white gimmick. They just like, fuck it, we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
I can dig it. I mean, if it works, don't broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
The way she's come back, I was like, this is brilliant. Like her character work is brilliant with this.
She get bumped off the head.
She just all of a sudden woke up from her amnesia one episode. Her whole thing was like the way she came back. I know I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The way she came back was that she acted like she had just gotten to AEW and was like meeting everybody for the first time. Essentially, the kind of create a false sense of security for Mariah May. And then all of a sudden she was like, this has been my greatest acting of all time. It's like, now I'm back. It was so good. Luther came back on Collision last week or the weekend too as well. So yeah, I think Toni Storm takes this. For about
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It makes sense.
this
Keep the
actually
story going.
this might
Sets up a
actually be
sets up
the
a
main
match.
event because I think more people care about this than the Death Riders storyline. We have Kenny Omega, who's healthy as hell, and Will Ospreay, their favorite boy, versus Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher in just a tag team match, generic tag team match. I'm going with Omega and Ospreay because Kenny Omega hasn't wrestled a big match for AEW in like over a year, and
Yeah,
Will
I agree.
Ospreay's their golden child.
Yeah.
Omega and Ospreay are winning this match.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's very, very, very clear cut. I will say, Kyle Fletcher, they need to invest more in Kyle Fletcher as a company because I think he's a great heel.
Yeah. How about a new name?
Kyle Fletcher, it kind of works well for him. His nickname now, because Don Callis is also a great manager for AEW. Don Callis has said he's a future star, but he's also the prototype of a future star, so he calls himself the Proto Star.
The Proto. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That works. That works.
I was like, Proto Star's kind of cool. I love how I love Kyle Fletcher's work. I've been loving his heel run, especially because he wants to be. He's like essentially the anti Ospreay. Yeah, it's good. It's good. But AEW needs Kenny Omega in the worst way possible. In the worst way, and I think this is going to. Kenny Omega is going to save his own company.
We all need Kenny Omega secretly.
It was really funny. Kenny Omega was doing a promo on like Dynamite or something, and I forgot I think he was going against Don Callis or something. And Don Callis goes, I don't want to waste. He was like, I don't want to keep wasting your time. And Kenny Omega goes, we can waste time. I'm an EVP again now. We're good. Because in storyline, he dropped his EVP status because he had diverticulitis, so he couldn't do anything. So, but I again, Ospreay Omega are winning this very, very clear cut. Moving on to also another match that I'm actually very interested in, and not for what you think. It's for Harley Cameron. Okay. Ooh. The person from Australia that Mercedes going up against for the TBS Championship, Harley Cameron might be the most entertaining person on AEW TV right now. So according to her backstory, she's one of 9 children.
Jeez.
That my father is also one of 9, so I get it. I still don't know my whole family. But she is a ventriloquist. She's a singer. She plays guitar rather well, and she uses and she's funny as fuck. She has shown all of her talents, and she in the kookiest way, and she has a very strong Australian accent. So her whole thing is like feel the wrath and things like that. And she just comes up in these weird ways. There was she's done backstage segments where she went up close to Mariah May and started singing on an acoustic guitar, like her whole promo to Mariah May. Her thing with Mercedes, she made a Mercedes ventriloquist doll. No, it's more like a Mercedes Muppet. And just like, hey guys, it's Mercedes Monet, CEO. The whole time. And she did a whole promo as Mercedes Muppet in ventriloquist mode, cutting a promo backstage.
That's creepy.
But it was really good. But this is obviously pissed.
Never seen it before.
I'll have
That's
to send
a new
you,
one. A wrestling ventriloquist.
She's good though, and she also has a really good voice as like a singer. I will say this: she cut a She was gonna do a halftime. She said Saturday for Collision, she was gonna do a performance. It's called the Harley Halftime Show. So she brought out the Muppet from Mercedes and was gonna be a ventriloquist while also playing guitar at the same time. Okay. Then Mercedes came out and they got into a little bit of a scuffle. Harley Cameron had a great line. She said, Mercedes, you should be thanking me because you've been the most entertaining since I've had my hand up your Muppet's ass. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, wow, I'm ready to see it. Be that as a way, Mercedes is winning. Harley Cameron.
Did you see the sign Mercedes is overrated and overpaid?
I did not. On what, a Dynamite episode?
Yeah, it was a meme going around. I was like, that's pretty funny.
She's been, honestly, I've enjoyed her heel work, and she has been putting on good matches. Her feud with Statlander was really good towards the end of the year. Really, really good. The only reason I'm picking Mercedes in this is that Harley Cameron's a little bit too green.
Yeah.
And I think she can gain a lot of sympathy by her losing to Mercedes, and Mercedes just ends up beating her ass like violently after the match is over.
Oh, she destroys the puppet.
Have you seen the puppet?
I have not. I bet it looks terrifying.
It looks horrible, but that's the point. It's supposed to be like kind of hokey. But I'm going with Mercedes here officially.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with Mercedes. Although I do like a puppet master. That's pretty clever.
It's. I gotta send you a segment if I can find it. I was like, I enjoyed it. I was like, this is kind of entertaining, and I think AEW needs more entertainment. I know they want to be we're sports. You know, we're authentic. We're true wrestling, but like you also need to be entertaining. And Harley Cameron brings that entertainment. Like AEW storylines are very serious a lot of the time, but Harley's like, you're kind of funny, and they need more of that.
Her and Chelsea Green would be really funny.
You're so serious. You're correct. They would be hysterical.
That'd be so funny. She would just lose her mind.
She's been very connected to a lot of the performers in WWE. She apparently was previously married to a former NXT performer, Zion Quinn, and they recently got divorced. So she knows all of them.
Zion Quinn, that guy sounds very familiar.
He was there for like a hot dog and a handshake in NXT. He didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'm Googling, see if I remember.
You'll see. You'll realize who he is in a bit. As you try to Google that, we have the surprising announcement of Kazuchika.
I do remember this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the next one here we have, Will, is the surprising title defense because Okada's actually going to do something.
Hey, there we go. Finally.
Okada's putting his Continental Championship on the line against Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy, you know. And Buddy Matthews has a history of doing well in Australia. Remember when they had that Australian Super Show and Buddy won the Cruiserweight title?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He does really well. So I wasn't really sold on this. I was like, I thought it was a match just to have a match. And essentially they cut a promo on Collision. And Buddy Matthews came up to Okada and goes, ever since you've been in AEW, you've been an absolute joke. And I've been waiting to see the real Okada.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Because he was like, you're from Australia. He goes, I'm from Australia. You're from Japan. Like, we're right there. Like, are you gonna stop being this clown? Or are you gonna be an actual performer?
I mean, right there. I mean, kind of.
No, they tour. They go to Australia a lot, like Japan.
Do they?
Yeah, they're really close. They're closer than you think.
It's like I'm from Maine. You're from Venezuela.
It's not that far off, I don't think.
You sure?
The interesting thing about it is they got face to face, and then Buddy went to go like strike Okada in the face, and Okada flinched. Like he faked the punch and Okada flinched. I was like, oh, okay, we might have something here.
The difference from Australia is 4,204.44 miles, 6,000 kilometers. It is a 9 to 10 hour flight.
Oh, I thought it was a little bit closer.
Well, you know why it's a longer flight? Because it's the Earth curves.
It's the curvature of the Earth.
So,
yeah,
like,
they're going
so
from hemisphere.
So that would probably be from like New York to Brazil.
Probably, yeah.
9 to 10 hours.
Yeah. Because of the curvature of the Earth. With this being said, Okada's winning for me.
Yeah, he kind of has to, right? I mean,
you got called out like that. He punked you on TV. I'm interested though, because styles make fights, and if we get the Okada that everybody knows and loves, and we get Buddy's just a hybrid of a lot of stuff, this could be a good match.
Yeah. No, I agree. It could 100% be a good match.
Yeah, but we're both going with Okada here.
Yeah.
You just can't beat the Rainmaker sometimes.
Also, like, dude, like Buddy Murphy's his stablemate just left, so it's like I don't think they have anything for him. It's like, oh, you're from Australia, take a loss.
Yeah, I mean they're going to give the Australian crowds, something that they want. Like someone's going to get a big win. I think Tony's your big win here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's all we have for AEW Grand Slam. Again, this show, because I don't know what to call it, pay-per-view. It's not a Dynamite special, This show
this Saturday night, this late Saturday night event.
Something like that. it's
Saturday night's late event.
Saturday night's late event, yeah. Is gonna happen. I am concerned for for this. It could either be the greatest thing that they failed to market, which would totally be AEW irony, or this could be a typical AEW, like, okay, it was good for what it was, but not the greatest thing ever.
I wonder what their merch table is going to be like.
If they're gonna have one.
If they're gonna have one.
You know, for me, for this, as we're gonna crown it between 1 and 10, I'm gonna go with 7.
6.
Yeah, I don't have high hopes for this. Like, the card on paper, I'm like, this could work. But I don't know. With the other thing that's more intriguing to me with AEW is MJF's storyline. MJF's going up against Jeff Jarrett. And because it's Jeff Jarrett's like final run. Like Jeff Jarrett's retired again. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett's doing good when he doesn't have to own a company. You know, he's doing really well in his role. A lot of AEW's good stories are probably going to be either A, saved for Revolution, or B, they're just good on TV. You know, so there's that. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. This doesn't sit on solid ground with me. That's all I got to say here. Moving on to the other better structured events, NXT Vengeance Day, live from Washington D.C., 6 Eastern, which is perfectly fine. I can watch most of it, and then also watch the NBA All-Star Saturday night at some point when the good stuff happens, like the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, because no one gives a damn about the skills challenge. To be completely honest with you, it's like the opening stuff.
I like the one where they have to shoot from half court. I like that one.
Oh, that is part of the skills. That's one of the shooter's challenge or something like that. Yeah, they have to like hit like a layup, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, and half court.
It's like the celebrities, and they used to make it like a WNBA star.
It's a WNBA star, an NBA star, and like I think an NBA legend sometimes, or a celebrity.
Yeah. Or a celebrity.
Yeah, that one's good. But NXT Vengeance Day, 6 Eastern, from Washington D.C. As of right now, NXT is going on right now as we speak. It's 15 minutes into the show, so I'll probably catch the tail end potentially. There's only 3 matches, so it's gonna be real quick. We're gonna speed through this, probably will. So real quick, NXT Vengeance Day. Obviously, your main event is currently a triple threat, and I think you might enjoy this, Will. We have Obafemi putting the NXT Championship on the line against Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And I cannot wait for Obafemi to destroy these 2 men. Yep.
It's going to be murder. It's going to be murder in the first degree. And it's going to be the breakup of A-Town Down Under.
Which is perfect. 2 storylines, 1. There's a potential that this could be a fatal 4-way and add Trick Williams to it. But as of right now, it is a triple threat, and
Didn't Trick get murdered by Obafemi like recently?
A couple weeks ago, yeah. And Trick,
absolute destruction.
Well, the thing also is Trick never got his 1-on-1 because they turned into a triple threat at the last big event. So Trick never got his 1-on-1, which is perfectly fine because you can ride the Trick and Oba, will they, won't they, all the way to Stand and Deliver in Vegas, and then move Trick up. After in Mania, like you can drag this, and
I'm bummed we didn't get Trick in the Rumble. I thought he deserved that spot.
I thought we were gonna get Trick too. I'm bummed we didn't get Trick or Oba because I thought Oba would have been fantastic.
Like, would you have been mad if instead of Akira Tozawa, it was Trick Williams and Carmelo did the Trick Williams?
I actually like that. I think that's a better overarching storyline.
And then Speed got the spot
for Trick. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Because like when he took out Tozawa, I was like, okay, you know, it doesn't really hold any weight. Like remember when we went to the Rumble and we thought we were gonna get Ty Dillinger, and then Sammy took him out. Like that had an impact.
Yeah,
you know, but like Tozawa getting taken out didn't really have that big of an impact for me. So I like the way you book. Like we get Trick, we like whoop that Trick, and then like Carmelo just beats the crap out of him.
Yeah, it's like if you know, you know.
Yeah. And then you're gonna have Michael Cole kind of talk it up that they have a huge history in NXT. Like it would have worked really storyline.
It would have worked.
Yeah.
It would have worked.
But all in all, Oba's destroying these 2 men.
Just look at that graphic. He's like looking forward to it.
He really is. I cannot wait to take out these 2 men. Oh man, I can't wait till he gets called up. I want to see Oba versus Braun Strowman.
Oba versus Braun Breaker.
That too.
Yeah. Oba versus Drew. Oba versus Seth.
Yeah.
Over versus the Tsunami guy. What's his name?
Bronson
Big
Reed.
Bronson Reed.
When his ankle heals, yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, which is the reason he's not going to show up for like another year, because Sean's going to be like, I need him.
Over versus Gunther.
Oba versus Gunther would be amazing.
Yeah, this meat.
Beating up everybody. Moving on, the women's title is also going to be in a triple threat. You have Roxanne versus Bayley trying to defeat Julia, the newly crowned NXT Women's Champion. I think this is Roxanne's swan song.
God, two of my wrestling crushes in one match. What do I do?
What, Bayley and Roxanne?
Yeah, choose a button, Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Yeah.
She's hot as fuck. Look at her. God damn.
They brought Bayley down to obviously feud with Roxanne, and I think Roxanne and Roxanne was on Raw in the crowd for Bayley's match.
3 times. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is obviously leading to Roxanne versus Bayley at some point down the line. And Julia just got newly minted. She's a new face of your women's division. This is, like I said, this is Roxanne's swan song. I actually, at this point, would not be surprised if Roxanne versus Bayley is a Mania mid-card match.
See, I'm wondering that. Do you put them on Mania, or do you bring Bayley down for a stand and deliver match?
I don't know, because they don't have.
You gotta
anything
sell them.
planned
You
for-
gotta sell them tickets.
That's true. Those tickets don't come easy right now. It would be interesting if Bayley went down for an NXT match on Mania weekend. However, if you don't have anything for Bayley on the Mania card, it would make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, do you bring
It's
Bayley
like
down or do you bring
you
Roxanne
give
out?
Bayley an extended run at NXT? Like, she's that veteran.
I mean, they did
who
the same thing with Becky Lynch. She had an extended
Exactly.
run.
Who can put someone up? But that wasn't during Mania season. But
Yeah.
that might have been right after Mania season. Honestly.
It was because she's the one who pretty much vetted Tiffy.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if you want to give Roxanne a legit swan song, I mean, it's hard to get a bigger swan song than
Bayley.
going over Bayley to end your NXT career.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, like, Bayley going down to NXT to face Roxanne is the safe bet, I think.
Yeah. Like, is there enough time to really, really, truly introduce Roxanne to the audience during the hottest time of the season, the year, when you got to build so much other stuff? Like, are you going to dedicate a lot of TV time to build this match as opposed to, Logan Punk, Drew, whatever, Seth and Roman? It's like, who are you going to take away from, where it's like you can use that time on NXT to really put her over
True.
with Bayley, and then call her up on Monday or Friday afterwards.
I get what you're going. Yeah, like Bayley and Roxanne during Stand Liber is a safe bet.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that they put so much faith in Roxanne to have her be the second to last in the Rumble, and they
True.
have talked up her being the all-time Iron Woman and being the finalist in the Rumble. Like, every time the Rumble thing comes up, Roxanne is mentioned. They're having her on Raw, so it's a matter of, do they feel comfortable bringing her up and maybe kind of jettisoning this feud on the main show? Because then, you have the safety of a triple threat where you can tease the bigger story, which causes both of them to lose. And then it's a matter of, do you continue the story on NXT where Bayley comes in, or do you continue the story where Roxanne comes up to Raw and attacks Bayley, and now you have a thing?
I mean, either are possible, but I think you definitely need to dedicate a good amount of time really explaining who this woman is. Give her enough TV time, like video packages, is explaining who she
Just
is. Like
freaking get Booker T.
backstage interviews. Like what was what they did with like Becky and someone else? Were like they went into the interview and beat him up. Like, what was that? That was Becky and who? I forget.
I
who.
forgot. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
But yeah, like that kind of a thing, where like they just went and find each other, like that kind of heat, like something to kind of, because it's a very good point. They gave her over an hour to be exposed to the WWE crowd.
Yeah, it's listen.
It's totally possible. I'd be happy with either.
So would I.
I still lean towards Bayley going down than her coming up, because she'll get lost in the shuffle on a WrestleMania Night 1 card, whereas she'll be the focal point in NXT.
I agree. I would also like I would also enjoy the hybrid idea because they tried to do it, but the pandemic happened of a currently NXT contracted talent on WrestleMania. It would have happened if it was Rhea and Charlotte in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Because they experimented with that, and that would have helped elevate NXT. But I like the idea of if Roxanne stays down and Bayley just goes down, and they do your idea of extreme heat. Every time they see each other, they're beating the crap out of each other and stuff like that. There is room where you can say, this match is too big for stand and deliver. This has to happen on a bigger stage.
There is, yeah, and I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I love those two. I don't know who I'd root for. I love them both.
Yeah,
like they're my wrestling crushes.
Yeah, and like the other way to get her over, she was coached by Booker T. Booker T loves Roxanne. I would just
scream my TV from the kiss. That's all I would
do. Yeah, but be it as it may, I think Julia runs away with this.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty. Look at her. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Beautiful. Her tagline is great. She's called the Beautiful Madness.
Where did she come from, Julia?
Stardom.
That makes sense. Sense.
She's Italian and Japanese.
Yeah, oh damn, we're talking about the wrong side of World War II.
Yeah, she's Italian and Japanese. The last match that we have on the card right now, currently for NXT, like we said, there's probably going to be two or a couple more matches added to this card by the time we listen to the final version of this show. Fallon Henley, the Women's North American Champion, going up against Stephanie Vaquer, one of the other big acquisitions in the last year for the NXT Women's Division. Some of you guys remember Stephanie Vaquer because she was at Forbidden Door and faced Mercedes Moné.
She was also in the Rumble.
All right, listen. At this point in time, it is Mercedes and then Stephanie for me.
Okay.
1 and 2. I think Stephanie Vaquer is extremely talented. And I also love the irony that her match with Mercedes at Forbidden Door, which is a WWE tryout match, so they signed her like right after.
That's pretty funny.
Bayley
called Sasha once. It's like, how is she? And she was like, I can't wait to sign her. And Bayley was like,
about that.
Did I mention Triple H is on the call? Mercedes, we just three-way called you, bitch, and hangs up.
He's like, all right, Sean, shut up. I'm going to tell her.
Shh, I'm doing it.
Exactly. I mean, I am gonna go. Fallon Henley's North American title run has been kind of lackluster. Not by her fault in any way, shape, or form. There are just better stories in NXT going on right now than this. And they've been highlighting Stephanie again. She was also in the Rumble, and there is that kind of. Stephanie and Julia are technically friends, but they are kind of competing currently to be the new, top person in that women's division. So I think it makes sense that you would put the belt on Stephanie.
I'm going to go with the other one just to be different.
What's up?
I'm going to go with the other one just to be different.
Fallon Henley?
Sure.
I'm a big Fallon Henley fan too. I think she's really cool. But I think they're going to do this. They're going to do it Stephanie. Listen, they jettisoned Julia. Julia got the title in almost 7 months in NXT because she was in the crowd for Stand and Deliver when we were in Philly. Then she came over later. She came over about a couple of months later because she had to finish some stuff. In a little less than 7 months, she got the title.
Damn.
Yeah, so they're big. I think they're gonna give it to Stephanie too. So there's that. So that's all we have for Vengeance Day. Like I said, I think Vengeance Day is gonna be the more put together show than Grand Slam. Because this is technically a premium live event, like they've kind of done this 6 Eastern. I'm going to give this an 8 because NXT usually does not fail.
Yeah, I'll go 7.5.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. There's always something we went to Stand and Deliver not expecting much, and then we got Obafemi having 2 6'8" people on his shoulder.
God, that show was incredible.
Yeah,
I had so much fun. I haven't watched NXT since, but. I like that I can and if we go to the MSG show, it's I can go, have no idea what the hell is going on,
and still have fun,
still really enjoy it, and pick up who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's going over, who's they pushing. And I'm gonna feel the same way at TNA in July.
Slammiversary, baby.
Slammiversary. It's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to boo Dolph Ziggler. It's gonna be great.
It's Slammiversary, but also with an NXT WWE partnership. too as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, it's gonna be
anybody
great.
could show.
Is that in Hammerstein?
What?
Their NXT Slammiversary?
UBS Arena where the Islanders play.
Oh shit!
Because you haven't been to
Islanders?
UBS
Oh,
yet,
that's
have
right. I
you?
haven't been there.
You're gonna have so much fun at UBS.
Oh yeah, I have to decide if I'm driving or not.
I'm probably taking the train in. So
With that congestion pricing, I'm still not. That's like $9. That's extra $9 plus the toll. Fuck me.
and you gotta park.
Oh god.
That's why I'm taking the train in.
Oh my own.
You can take the train from Penn
I know it's the Penn Station and the Long Island Railroad. And it's
to
pretty
UBS.
much right there.
Yeah, they have.
Oh,
their
it goes
own
right
stop.
to UBS.
Yeah, it goes right to UBS.
I'll take a train.
Exactly.
I thought we looked it up one time when it was first open. There was no easy transit there. Did
Because
they add a stop?
Because you know what? You only had westbound. The westbound side was only open.
Oh, so they added a stop then.
They finished the station.
Okay, good. Okay, that makes okay. In that case, I'm way more willing to go to UBS Arena then.
Yeah.
Just for other things. I know the Islanders play there,
Yes, they do.
and I love hockey. Well, I like going. I shouldn't say I love hockey. I like going to hockey.
I'll
live.
tell you about the tailgate bar in UBS Arena.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'll tell you about that out in the post show. But this does conclude our show for this week, and the next time you're going to see us is in 2 weeks when we have our legendary, soon to be legendary, 400th episode, 400th official episode. I should say that. Our official, we are well over 400. There are just some episodes that just never aired.
Really?
Yeah. There was a time we had a guest that like couldn't get her stuff together, so we couldn't get the show off. We also did a couple of half episodes where we had like specials.
I don't remember the shit.
It's in the archive.
All right.
It's there. So yeah, it's going to be our official 400th episode. A brand new look for the show visually. Will kind of saw it before we went.
Yeah,
live.
it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah, brand new
colors.
visuals, new colors.
Same logo, new colors.
This is kind of a soft reboot for now. I will be working on probably new music for the show in the 400th time, the 400 period as well. So this is it's going to be the beginning of some changes, but we are going to, talk about 400 and just kind of riff on the show and talk about some of the highlights, potentially lowlights and other random stuff. So it is going to be more of a free flowing show, but we are going to have a preview of Elimination Chamber because that is going to be that weekend of Elimination Chamber in Toronto. And let's just say I won't be the only royalty on the show for once.
Ooh. Is it Dave? Are we bringing Dave back?
I said royalty.
Dave has royalty in somewhere under something. He rules a domain over his bunny.
Fucking bunny. But yes, we are gonna have an old friend return to the show. For that to help us.
Is it Nikki Skywalker?
It's not Skywalker. It's not. That'd be hysterical. But
no, it wouldn't. She still hates me.
No, but we are gonna have an old good buddy come to the show to help us talk about Elimination Chamber and the 400th episode and everything like that. Put it this way, we would have made it to 400 without them. So they are going to come back.
It's in Canada. I get it.
So royalty, but Elimination Chamber is in Toronto.
Is it Justin Trudeau?
No. I can't trust that guy with a hot mic.
or brown paint.
Oh. Someone's got to explain that to me from government because I thought he was going to resign, but I guess not. I don't know how Canadian politics work.
He is resigning as he's finishing out his term, whatever that means.
Oh, so he's doing what every other politician does usually.
Yeah, it's like he's not seeking re-election.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Because when I read resignation, I was like, oh,
that's why I assumed it's like Fletcher would know better than me. He's actually Canadian.
Yeah.
For now. It's just like I think it's just like he's going to resign when the time is right.
So he's not going to seek re-election.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming it means.
Okay, because I was confused. It was like I heard the news event like he was doing a press conference. I was like, didn't you leave?
Did Trump make you quit?
You still go here? Well, that's just me, but yes. So our 400th episode is going to be a bit of a gag, a bit of a gas, a lot of laughs, a lot of reminiscing. Will be 30 by that time. Yeah, I know. So, and maybe a couple more surprises. I don't know yet. We got a couple weeks to figure it out. But pretty much, yeah. Get ready for that crazy, crazy fun time. I'm trying to prepare a special logo for 400, and that's turning to be really, really hard because I'm running out of ideas. But I'll figure it out. I got 2 weeks to get something done for that. But yeah, anything else that we need to add, Will, before we get out of here?
No, that wraps it up. 90 minutes. Been a good one. Been a good one this week.
Yeah, very, very good one. All right, so hit our music for now. Thank you, Fretz, for the clarification that Fretz does not know Canadian politics either, which thanks for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 399, Grand Slam Vengeance, because there is a Grand Slam and there's going to be a Vengeance, and I think the vengeance of a Grand Slam in Australia is not going to go well for AEW, but pretty well for NXT. I have been your host, King Ricky Rose. You can find me in Ambassador Biggs across all social media outlets, BIGZ Ambassador Biggs. Find Kings of the Rings podcast at KOTR_podcast across all social media outlets. Like, share, subscribe, leave us some amazing 5-star reviews. Links to all of our stuff are in the description below. If you are listening to us, make sure you're listening to us on Wrestle Addict Radio, the cure for the common wrestling podcast. And follow Wrestle Addict Radio socials at addict_wrestle on Twitter. I'm damn well never calling it X. Or at Wrestle Addict Radio, all one word, everywhere else. Will Tarashok.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's me. It's Whitley T. Had more rushing yards than the KC Chiefs. Yeah, goddamn right. I can run away. Well, not that far. I can't run that far.
Trust me, anything would help.
You see his gut. I sit down like this so I can hide my gut. God, it's kind of embarrassing. We were talking about baggy clothes on the pre-show before. I should have wore a heavier shirt today at work. My tummy was poking out. It was so embarrassing. I had to throw it out. Shame. I really like that shirt too. But yeah, next week, 400.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, 400. Very excited. This podcast has been going on for 10 years. If you can believe that. And 10 years more, and then we probably call it quits because we have families and lives and shit to do. But until then, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Ricky, back to you.
Yeah, so when we come back in 2 weeks, it's going to be our monumental 400th episode. Fred, send a cameo to somebody, probably just me, to be completely honest with you, and we'll figure it all out. We're going to have our very, very royal special guest coming on the show, a very good buddy. That's a 10-4 good buddy, folks. I've been watching a lot of Letterkenny. And it's not Slack, by the way. It's definitely not Slack. So when we come back in 2 weeks, Kay will be here, Will will be here, I will be here, our special guest will be here, and it'll be the 400th episode celebration with a little bit of a sprinkle of an elimination chamber. So until episode 400, Jesus Christ, goodbye, good night, we'll see you soon. Fuck you, Slack. See you for 400. This has been a Wrestle Addict Radio branded podcast.